Good morning, everyone. It's August 12th, pre-market planning session. So first, let's look at the SPY. I mean, there's nothing else to say, other than the fact that it's pretty much at all-time highs. The infrastructure bill passed, the spending bill is being discussed right now. So it looks positive. I mean, my theory or thesis at one point about, you guys remember that SPY is going to have a melt up 450 and then flush. So let's see if it happens or not. I mean, it's still in the cards right now. But at some point when we run out of catalyst, that's when things is going to go south, right? So right now, let it do its thing. I think the job numbers are coming out right now as we speak, right? Or unemployment numbers are coming out right as we unemployment claims numbers are coming out today, right, at 8:30. So let's see how that pans out. If it's negative, then we'll see a pullback, and then the market will be weak. Just make sure that you guys are following that. Okay, the numbers are out. Jobless claims, 12K. So it's estimate, right? So maybe it's from what we are seeing, the futures are flat right now. Okay, so just make sure that you see how the market reacts. If it's really negative, then if you are trading large caps, then that'll have an impact, right? Just be aware of what's happening. Don't get caught by surprise. Okay. Adjust your trading style accordingly. So if it's negative and you're going long, be conservative with your stops. Be conservative with your size. Don't get overly aggressive. And if it's you're short, and if it's really bullish move happening in the overall market, then you do the other thing. Okay, so make sure you're conservative with your stops. All right, so let's go into the stocks quickly. So I'll go with the small cap first. PBTS, I think it's the small cap runner of the day. I'll get to the large caps. I think most of my stocks that I'm watching today is the large cap stocks. But PBTS, let's look at that. So pretty straightforward. I mean, I think the news is around some crypto and blockchain. So every time I hear or I read about crypto, blockchain, or any, the buzzwords, and it's a small cap trash company, it's basically trash. I'm going to short it. But that said, it's not about what we think will happen, but what we think will happen and when, right? So the timing is really, really important. Don't be shorting this at one point, wherever you think, just because it's a trash company, you're short anywhere, right? You just make sure you're finding the right levels. So for this one, PBTS, obviously to me, if it's under 1.7, this level, right, it's done. Okay. This is done, right? So this is basically trash. If it falls under 1.7, it's probably not going to run anymore. So if you are thinking about long, because just a momentum play, they buy, then just make sure 1.7 is your ultimate level. Okay, if it breaks under, you're out. But if it holds 1.7 and bounces, then this can go back to, of course, the pre-market levels, right? The high levels, so 1.9, 2, and then you go into the daily, you're looking at $2, 250s, 225s, 250s, and then 3, right? I don't think it's going to get above 3 if it has momentum and volume comes in and squeeze happens. I don't think it's going to get over 3. It's going to be very, very, very hard for it to get over 3s, right, around this area. So from a short point of view, that's what I'm looking at, like 2.5 to 3. From a long point of view, I'm looking at 1.7 bounce, under 1.7. And then if it bounces, then you're looking at 2s, 2.5s, and 3s, right? So it's pretty straightforward. Under 1.7, it's not tradable. Forget about it, right? So just leave it alone. So that's the plan. Pretty straightforward. 1.7 bounce, and then 2.5 to 3 short. Okay, clear. What's the next one? Clove. Clove is running too. Clove is not a trash. Clove is a legit business. Of course, doesn't mean that it should be running, that aggressively, that high, that quickly. So there's always a chance for it to pull back. The long play, I don't unless it gets back to 9.5 area, the VWAP, the VWAP bounce play we talk about. So VWAP bounce 9.5, 9.4. If it gives a flush to that, it's a doable bounce, right? And then it can push back towards 10s, 11s. I think, here's the 10.5 levels, and then you have 11 levels, and then 12s, right? Right. So 10.5, 11, 12s. Those are the profit target area. Don't chase here. Don't chase the breakout. Maybe if there's consolidation happens later on in the day around here, and then it breaks out of that consolidation, you can go long, but don't go long here. To me, there's no pre-market, there's no solid support level for you to go off of. Maybe you could have gone here, pull back into this level for small long, but I would rather pull back into more major levels, especially in the pre-market. At the open as well, this stock, it's starting to get extended, right? It started running from 8s, now it's getting close to 10s, which is a resistance level, so don't chase. I know some people in the room got in early here, 9.2s, I think 9.3s, I think it was Crazy Cat, she did. So I think that's a good play because it's more of its, reliable support levels, and it's hugging the VWAP, right? So it's doable, but here, now it's running. Here, now it gets dangerous, right? If you chase it, it can dump back to 9.5, 9.6 pretty easily. All right, so the plan is clear, right? Once it starts getting to 11s, 12s, then I'll start looking to go short. 10.5s, 11s, 12. Then I'll start looking to go short. Right now, it's not a short. It's not a long or a short. But if it gets a flush to 9.5s, potential long. 9.5 to 9.4, and then if it gets to 11s and 12s, potential short. Okay, so it's very similar to PBTS plan, right? All right, next one. Now we're going to large caps, and a lot of earnings beat in the large cap area. To me, NEO is one of them. I'm looking at it, but I'm disappointed. The volume is starting to pick up a little bit, and I think maybe after the open, it will start to get stronger. I like NEO a lot, honestly. I looked at the numbers for NEO. It's pretty explosive, and then actually all three large caps I like a lot for long play based on the earnings numbers. So NEO is one. So NEO is basically blew everything out of the water too, right? I think the revenue was compared to last year more than doubled. Delivery numbers this year has of course gone up a lot, but the reason why it's probably not running as hard as it should be is the delivery numbers are month over month is going down, declining a little bit this year. I think and because of the semiconductor shortage, right? I think that's the reason. So, the bad news is that the delivery numbers are going down month over month, but it's not because of demand, right? It's more because of the fact that they're having some supply issues, which is not NEO's fault. So that's a good thing, and that probably applies to everyone in the industry. So it's a positive overall. So my plan, but that said, you can't really trade on thesis alone, right? Just because you think that it's a good stock, at least as a day trader. So you want to make sure you're trading the technicals along with the thesis to give yourself a better edge, right? So to me, I'm looking at a break of 45 for NEO, right? To show us that, that your thesis is confirmed, that yes, the market, the big money has the same idea that NEO is good and they should load up. So if it breaks out of these two levels, basically for 45 level, right? 45 or 45.10. If it breaks out of that, then I'll look to go long, but not blindly. Just wait for confirmation. Once it breaks out, you want to see it hold that level again, and then go long. Okay, so that's my plan, to go long on the break of 45 for NEO. I'm not going to go long here. I'm not going to go long on pullbacks, because that means that because it didn't gap up either, right? It didn't really gap up much. Yesterday it closed around 44, so it's at 44.5. So it didn't gap up anything based on the news, which means that maybe there's something that I don't know, right? So I want to wait for confirmation that, okay, this thesis is probably right, that NEO is a good buy around this price area. So look for 45s, break, confirmation of hold, and then I'll look to long. And if it starts running, then you're looking at basically the first resistance area is 46.2s, 3s, right here. And then if that breaks out, you're looking at 46.7s, 47s, 47.5, right? And if you are a swing trader, then you're looking at 48s. Okay, but I'll day trade this and hold it for as long as I can. Ideally do mid 46s. If it breaks out of 45, right? That will be probably my last stop, profit target area. If it starts working, right? There's a long way to go. So that's the plan: 45 break, hold, and then go. Clear? All right. Now UPST, that one was I didn't really pay. I was watching it in the room, but I wasn't paying attention to it. I mean, I know people were talking about it in the room, and again, same thing. They blew everything out of the water, and it's not just beat, but it's like destroyed. I think the guidance is also ridiculous. What's the number? Let me go into detail a little bit. So, I mean, overall, just super, super positive news. But that said, it got from here, right? Basically 135 to 170. So it moved a lot, right? So even if we think it's great news, it's already up $35 here. That doesn't mean it won't run. I think it will, but just have to be careful, right? I mean, the news is absolutely amazing, and I think the guidance is absolutely killer. So it's really, really good. It's the same plan as NEO I have, right, on this one, which is you have to break out of these key levels before the continuation move up. We cannot buy here, even if the news is good, because it's already up $40, right? So you want to make sure, even pullback, I don't like. Maybe 165. This is the pullback that I'll be interested in. If it gives us a pullback at the open, make sure you have, if you trade this, then just make sure you are have your stops ready too, right? Because it can go back all the way down to 158. So this is a pullback. Otherwise, I'm looking at a breakout play. But again, just remember, okay, don't break out at the open. Don't go long right on the breakout at the open, because what can happen is you can get rejected pretty hard at 172s and then flush down, right? The open is very volatile. Because I think there are times where I shorted these, not for this, I think it was Fubo, right? Yeah, Fubo yesterday. I shorted that. And I think some people were going long off the breakout. I think, I'm not sure. So it's same thing here. Make sure you don't just buy the breakout at the open just because Vince said that, oh, you know what, 170 break is good. No, what I mean is 170 break and hold, right? And when at the open, it's too volatile. You can't really wait for because the moves happen so fast. So wait for maybe the move to happen and things to settle down before you look at the breakout move for the long play. Okay? Right? Just don't go blindly into, oh, you know, at the open, the first 2 minutes, it breaks out of 170 and you go long. Right? Don't do that, because you can get stuck. It can get stuffed hard and you can drop $5 before you can get out if you're not fast enough. Right? A lot of people don't even use hotkeys. So don't fall for that. Just make sure that things have settled down, and then you see, okay, did it break out of 170? It did. Is it holding 170? Right? And then you go long. Okay. Same thing for what's the other stuff? NEO. I don't think NEO is going to be that volatile though. UPST volume is low, so UPST might not be that volatile either. But that's just a tip on how to trade these breakouts, especially if you're not quick enough. Okay, because the resistance is still around 172, right? You see previous day resistance, daily resistance, so it can get stuffed. It can get stuffed pretty quickly and pretty hard before you can even get out. Okay, but let the volume come in on this one UPST. I like it a lot, but no volume. So let's see what happens. But if it gives a flush, 164 is an area. Okay, 164, 165. Just make sure that you stop out maybe under 160, maybe under 164. So 165 to 164 would be the entry zone, and then the stop out zone would be under 164. Don't hold. Don't hope that it'll bounce off 162. Just get out and then reevaluate it for later. Right now, there's not much volume, so let's see. Okay, so the last one I have is PLTR. PLTR, same story, great earnings beat, great guidance. I think they increased the guidance too quite dramatically, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know what they mean by cash flow guidance. Maybe somebody can help me with this one. Is it what they expect to have cash reserve? I don't know. But overall, the beat is pretty amazing. So again, bullish. It's not as extended as UPST is, so it's a little better. So I don't mind buying pullbacks into this as much, right? Because it's not that extended. So if it pulled back, turn a profit on. Is that what it means for? Oh, maybe. Okay, so 24. I don't mind buying pullback into this one because it's not super extended, right? It started running from 23s and it's at 24s. So I don't mind buying pullbacks on this one. If anything, I would rather buy a pullback on this one than a breakout on this one, because if it breaks out of say 24.6s, then you're heading into a resistant area around 25s, right? Not that I cannot break out of 25s, but it's going to be harder. So I would rather buy pullback into this one, maybe pull back into the 24 level, right? And 24 would be some support level here in the daily, right? So 24 is a decent level. Maybe 23.5 is a decent level to go long. 24 to 23.5 pullback would be the buy zone for PLTR for me. And then if it bounces, then you're looking at a profit target area of 24.5s, 25s, and then here 25.5 area, right? So these are the tiers I'll be looking at. And if it breaks under 23.5 or 23.4 area, then stop out, right? So 24, basically 50 cents is a buy zone, and then you stop out under 23.5, 23.4. So if your average is say 22.7s, then your risk level is not that bad, right? So your risk is only 30 cents or so, and then if it can bounce this back towards 24s, 24.5s, then your reward is worth the risk. Okay. I think that's it. I think that's all I have. Let me see. Yep. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Definitely. It's going to be these earnings play, and we'll see. And also make sure that the market is not falling off the cliff based on any news, right? If it does, then all these plays that look strong with good news, that wouldn't matter. The only thing that will matter is maybe these might not fall as hard, right? So that's all that matters. But these will fall if the market is tanky. For Clove, I think I said that, right? For Clove, I'll put my stop. Oh, okay. So I said pull back into 9.5s, right? I'm not going to chase this here. So 9.5s, I'll put my stop under 9.4s maybe, right? So it'll be like 15, 20 cents risk. Okay, Zev. Let me clear out my notes. Okay. So yeah, you saw that notes. I take notes. Make sure you guys are taking notes for every stocks that you guys trade. Anything that looks interesting. Short, Zev short. It's too low. I mean, it's too beaten down for you to short, unless it gets a big bounce, right? Big bounce towards I don't know, 11s, maybe 11.5s, 12s. It's the reason why these plays are hard is you don't know where it'll bounce to, okay? Because you're looking at 11.5, so the range is pretty big, right? But yeah, if it gets a bounce, then it's a good short. If it gets a very good bounce, like 11.10 10.5 is 11.5, then it's a good short. But you just have to be careful that, if it bounces to 11s, 10.7s, it can bounce to 11, it can bounce to 11.5. So there's a lot of guesswork involved. The best short is, of course, if it gets to 12, right? But that's rarely happens. All right. So what's the next one? AMD and then mRNA. Okay. PLTR, I gave the levels, right? PLTR. Quickly. 24 to 23.5 long area. That's it. And then stop out under 23.5. Okay. Yeah, 24 to 23.5, not 24 to 4.5. Okay, so mRNA. mRNA, oh, what a beast. mRNA, honestly, I don't know how to play this. I don't know how to play this. Logical thing is, if it bounces to 410s, it's a short. But the thing that threw me off about mRNA yesterday is, yes, how far it fell, that's a good risk-reward play. I don't like mRNA. I think it's trash. But it's definitely bounceable, was definitely bounceable yesterday, right? Because of the fact that it dropped so much and it's a super large cap. But to me, more importantly, it was just admitted to S&P, right? S&P 500. So, and SPY was strong yesterday. So that was what gave me the conviction to go long. And I'll get to what I think about today. That's what gave me the conviction to go long. Not just because it was dropping so hard, and it was dropping so hard into some very important levels, right? But the S&P news is what gave me the conviction to go long a little bit aggressively. So that brings me to what I think about today, right? Because of that, I'm also not sure that's a good short. That's the thing that's throwing me off. The SPY, that's part of S&P 500, and if S&P 500 is strong, if the sell-off is over, for whatever reason, I think news was one of the reasons why it was selling off was because of some efficacy. The safety test that the EU is doing on it, right, or something along those lines. And if that news is cleared, and it's part of SPY as S&P 500, this can rip back to 420s, 430s, right? That said, so it's a lot of contradiction in my head on mRNA, but the fact that it dropped so much tells me that maybe SPY is not that being part of S&P 500 doesn't matter as much for this stock, right? On the other hand, if the news is cleared and it's part of S&P 500 and it starts bouncing, how far can it go? Pretty far. So it's hard. I don't know. I don't have a good read on this one. And I think that's a problem with mRNA for me. The only good read I thought I had yesterday was bounce play. And eventually it is bouncing now. Now the question is, now that it's bouncing, then, it can go pretty high. But at the same time, I don't want to go long here either. I want to go long here. I want to go long here. So if it gives me a flush back, maybe I'll go long at 380s, and maybe I'll go long at 370s, right? Maybe. It's mRNA, there's a lot of things happening that probably we don't know behind the scenes, right? Like, it's definitely overvalued for sure at this point. But I don't have a good read on this. I thought I did. I've been trading this really, really well on the short side going up. But on this massive pullback changed everything for me. I don't know. After this big pullback, I don't know what to think of mRNA, to be honest. I really don't. Like I said, these are the contradictions that I have, about mRNA. I don't know. So be careful if you're trading it. If you're trading long, make sure you're trading the important levels here, 388s, 380s, and then just execute your plan, right? Don't get emotional. Don't overstay. If you have a plan of going long, 380 is a level, 370, 388, these are the key levels. On the short side, I think the 410 seems to be a logical level, but it could go to 420s and go to 430s. If it gets to 430s, then I'll short it. That I'm pretty confident about. 425s, 420s, I'll probably short it. Okay, and if it goes, if it drops 380s, I'll probably long it. 370s, I'll probably long it. So that's it on mRNA. Here, I have no idea. If it's trading around these levels, I have no idea what to do. Okay, clear? All right, so maybe let's see. BNTX is kind of like mRNA, no? Let me see what's happening in BNTX. I haven't looked at it. Yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of like mRNA. So same plan, same idea. Okay, so that's a good thing, honestly. So that's a good thing of what's happening to BNTX. So it's not an mRNA thing, right? So that to me is an additional information, which kind of tells me, okay, it's not an mRNA thing what's happening. It's probably just this Delta variant hype, right? That's causing big, massive moves, which we knew, but I thought mRNA had some individual issue. So if this is a case where it's exactly trading the way mRNA is trading, maybe not. It's not exactly an mRNA issue. It's just, you know, the Delta variant hype that's dying down or picking up that's causing these massive flushes. So that's it. It doesn't mean that, you know, it doesn't change anything for how I'll trade mRNA, because the levels around here, I just don't know how. Right? So I would make sure I would choose the right level to short these or go all along these. So, but the same plan. Zev, did I talk about Zev? I'm sorry, I skipped over Zev. Oh yeah, I did talk about Zev. Okay, right. So maybe final one. What should I do? Which one? The last one. Open. Okay, let's look at open. Let's look at open final. Yeah, I looked at open. I didn't like it as much. I think it's not, the earnings is not, I think they had an earnings beat, but the company is still not super viable and strong, I think, based on what I read. So I'm not very bullish on this one. It's hard. I mean, if you want, there are other better plays, right, that you just talked about. So maybe avoid this. I don't know. I mean, it's simple. I don't know how to trade this, but I think if it breaks under this level, then just get out. It's not tradable, just like one of those smaller cap. And then view our reclaim. There's resistances in the 18s area, right? I don't think the range is that good. Maybe not really tradable. If it breaks out of 18s, then maybe, yeah. So as a long, I don't feel comfortable buying dips on this one at all. But if it breaks out of the 18s area or this area, right, which is 18s. So if it breaks out of the 18 area and you see volume, a lot of volume coming in and is trading, then I think it's a decent pullback long area, right? But again, just remember, not a breakout 18s right at the open, right? Because it can get rejected hard, and before you know it, you're down $1, right? And then you get emotional, you don't want to take your losses and all that. It just multiplies and makes it worse. So just make sure that, you know, try not to trade these at the open. But if later in the day it trades a lot around here and then starts breaking out of 18s, and then holds, then maybe it's worthwhile looking at going long off 18s. Okay. So yeah, I think that's it. If you guys have any other questions, just make sure you type in the room or DM me.